Hello YouTube. Hi everyone and welcome on my YouTube channel. I know I have made a promise earlier that I will be today talking about something really important, which is forgiveness. I really wanted to deliver it in Arabic, but I think it will be better if I do it in English. Then a lot of people could get to hear it, and then maybe I could translate some in Arabic. Hi, who is that? Said hi. Somebody said hello. Hello from USA, Arizona. This is Samah, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Ahlan wa sahlan. Hello, everyone. And thank you for watching us, and thanks for asking about us. We're doing really great. Ryan is farming. The kids are playing and farming as well. I'm here. I was doing stuff at home, and now here we go. It's time finally for me to be on YouTube. I made a post earlier about this episode that I will recorded, but I just thought, well, it's better always to do it um, live than than to record it. I don't have time recorded, but when I do things on live, I always feel like the commitment to do it. It helps me. As you know, I have 3 kids, and they're always busy running around and taking care of kids and taking care of home, and a husband and myself and those who love us also and wait on us. It's a lot, but it's all doable and it's all fun. And I know a lot of people are starting fasting for Ramadan, so Ramadan Kareem for all of you. It's probably morning now in some other countries. So, why forgive others and why talk about forgiveness now? Okay, um, this is one of the things that is really hard, really difficult, and really takes a lot of efforts and persistence, and it takes a lot of intention to do it. I know sometimes in Sudan we say, uh, "Oh, it's okay, I'll forgive you. It's okay, I'll forgive you. It's no problem." You know, they a lot of people a lot they we get taught that if you don't forgive someone, you're not a good person. So a lot of us feel lots of pressure to forgive, but does it really mean you're really forgiving somebody, if they do you wrong? And what is forgiveness? And I feel like some people are getting forgiveness mixed up with to forgive someone and to forget what they've done to you. But does that mean when you forgive them, should you just completely forgive and forget? Or what does it mean? So I'm going to talk about personal experience. I'm going to talk about my life, a little bit about my life. I'm going to talk about just forgiveness. What does it mean to me? And what I found it to be like, how I overcome some of the hardship to forgive some people in my life. And one person that is really like a great example for me for when it comes to forgiveness is my husband, Ryan. He's really forgiving. He's a forgiving person. He's very forgiving. He's very loving. He's very kind. But he has gone through a lot in his life before. And I think that kind of brought that thing of forgiveness to his heart. Like, okay, if I'm not going to forgive, I'm going to be stuck in life. That's what he always tells me. And if you notice, every time we talk about something, he say, bless people, don't curse people, and try to love and try to forgive. And because that's just how he lives his life. And for me, it was harder sometimes, and it gets harder sometimes to forgive some people. And I think it's not because I am bitter or I have like hard things in my life. No, it's just because it's very horrible. Some of the things that they've done to me is really, really horrible. And I mean, some things that I didn't have any hands on them. Like, for example, I was very young. molested, when I was sexually molested when I was very young, in a very, very young age. I wasn't even 6 years old. And we all know that when you have such experience, or something happened to you, you carry it along in your life. And that affects how you see people, how you trust people, and how you move on, in life. And something like that happened to me again when I was a teenager. And then when it happened to me, I was very confused because it happened from somebody that was really close to the family, and somebody that was really trusted, well. And as a teenager, I wasn't sure what I should do about it. Whom should I talk to? Should I tell my mom? Should I tell my dad? What will happen? Should I talk to someone about it? If I talk to someone, the fear of, oh, maybe it will be, they will say it's your fault. It's you who, it's your mistake. And a lot of things like that in our community, unfortunately, in the Sudanese community, a lot of things are, blamed on you. Oh, you are the female, and sometimes you are the one that somehow contributed or made it happen. So a lot of that made me carry a lot of things in my heart. I wasn't sure if I didn't know that I needed to forgive myself. I didn't know that I needed to forgive other people. I just thought as I grow older, I will just learn how to cope with it, and how to go with the how to just grow up, and how to be strong. And a lot of people say, oh, you're strong, you've accomplished a lot of things, and you've done this in your life, and you've done that in your life. And I will say, yeah, that's all great, and that's all good, but what is it exactly, I love, when it comes to, that's all right, sweetie, when it comes to deep in my heart. And this is here where this is an exercise and something for all of us. When you think deeply in your heart, you think of those who hurt you the most. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, a dear friend, somebody you've trusted, you put all your trust on them, and then they betrayed that trust. How do you deal with this? How do you forgive them? Do you actually need to forgive them? I think it's very important to forgive. It's very important to forgive, but that doesn't mean when you forgive someone, you allow them and you give them the same space again to come back and hurt you more. You have to keep healthy boundaries between you and them. You have to make sure that you don't give them that space where they could again have the freedom to come and hurt you. And I think this is where it gets confused, when the confusion comes sometime, and when it get really confused for some people. It's like, okay, if I forgive you, that means I have to forget everything that you've done, and I have to start a new page with you, and I have to trust you, and and maybe forgiveness is just something that I give without thinking about it, without really meditating and really understanding the meaning of forgiveness. And I think it's very important to have the healthy boundaries when you forgive someone. You don't let them, and you don't allow them, and you don't open your heart, for them again to come. Because it's hard for people to change. It's not easy for people to change. And for someone to basically, someone who has the habit of hurting people somehow, either by their actions, either by their words, or whatever it is, it's hard for that person to change. It takes a lot of efforts and a lot of time for things to change, and for someone to change to be a different person. So you're responsible for yourself, and when you forgive that person, you're kind of like going forward, with your life. You're not stuck. You're not you don't have bad dreams. You don't sit alone and think about it and say, my life sucks. You don't get stressed. You don't get to just have, you don't have like low self-esteem. A lot of things are carried along with that heart when you're not forgiving people. Your heart, your mind, your soul, you'll suffer you will feel like, okay, I could just cover it all up and just move on in life, and it's okay, I can handle this, and I could just go on. But that's not true, because when you're just alone, you alone, you find yourself running away from yourself, running away from facing all the things that has happened to you, all the things that caused you hurt, and all the people that hurt you in your life, and you just put that mask of, oh, I am okay, and they're okay, and we're just gonna grow out of it. There's no such a thing as growing out of it, because you will never grow out of it. You're gonna carry it for the rest of your life, and you get to choose how you're gonna carry it. Are you gonna carry it with awareness, or are you gonna carry it with pain and hurt and ignorance? You get to choose how you carry it with you, how you carry it along. And I chose, for a lot of things that have hurt me in my life, and a lot of people that have hurt me in my life, I've chose to forgive them. But I've also chose to have all these healthy boundaries between me and them. So I'm not allowing them to come again and hurt me over and over. You have to be smart, and you have to protect yourself somehow. You have to do that. So it's important to do that, because when you do it for you. You don't do it for for them. You do it for yourself. And you never know how life is going to be in the future. You never know how what's going to happen along the way. Hey, Mena, can you please come shut the door for mommy? The door is making some noise. You never know what's going to happen in the future when you're when you're carrying all these things with you. What's going to happen to them, what's going to happen to you. But at least you will come clean. At least you will face all your wounds. Could you shut this door, please, behind you when you get out?
Hi, can I have ice cream?
I am not sure about that.
Can I have the last marshmallow from the jar?
I really don't know. You may have maybe a little bit.
Yes.
Of you. I just want it shut so it's not making a lot of noise.
Fans.
It's good for you, because then, like, I could raise my daughter on helping her understand all these things. So when she's grown up, or even, as she grows up, when she goes through hurt in life and through people she get to see, and know that knowing self, forgiving others is very important to balance your life. It's very important to bring you peace in your heart. I'm not talking about happiness here. I'm talking about peace, because it's very important to have peace. If you don't have peace, you're always going to be on the run. You're always going to be trying to just go fast, and you're going to be trying to, like, you're racing something in your head, you're racing something in your heart. And that thing is basically all the things that you accumulate, and you're not able to face them. You're not able to open them up and say, okay, here, all of you wounds and hurt, and all of you people who've been awful to me, what I'm going to do about you. I will choose to forgive you, and I will choose at the same time to have healthy boundaries with you. Sometimes it's hard to have that healthy boundaries, especially if they're close people to you, like your husband, like your family members, like someone that's really close to you that you can't. Healthy boundaries doesn't mean you should avoid them. Healthy boundaries doesn't mean you shouldn't talk to them. Healthy boundaries doesn't mean you shouldn't help them if they needed help and you could help. Healthy boundaries means that you're standing firm on your ground, so you're not allowing them to come back again to that softest spot in you, or to come back again to you and hurt you the same way. Which takes a lot of efforts and a lot of intention and a lot of time as well. But by the end of the day, you're doing all these things for your sanity, for your balance, for your peace, and also you're doing it, when you forgive them, you're setting an example of greatness. But we're not sure, because you never know what people think, or how people change, or when people change. So you'll never know if your forgiveness is going to do something to them. So the predator, the person who abused me when I was very young, is a very close person to the family, a very close family member. And I remember I've carried it for a long time in my heart. I've talked to some of my friends, girlfriends, about things, and I've said, okay, all I could do is avoid that person. Sometimes the abuser will have kind of some power over you because they know that you haven't talked to someone with authority to put them, to put them on right spot, but also they know that you're weak because you're young, because you don't know what to do about things, because you are not like making decisions about how you talk, how you move, how you do all of that things. You're very young, you don't know, and they know all of that about you. So that's why they prey on you and they choose you, to abuse you. So time passes. I am an old woman now. I have my kids and I have my family. When I talked to my husband about some of these things, he's very supportive, of course, and we talk about healing and the long road of healing, because things don't happen just in a blink of an eye. Everything takes time. And part of the healing was the forgiveness part. And also part of the healing, he said, what if that person needed you just out of the blue? And I said, I don't think I would want to help him, because, he's not, I don't know how many other girls or women he has abused in his life. And I don't know if he's still doing the same thing. He has many kids right now. I just don't know. And I'm not sure if I would like to help him in any way. And he said, well, that's your right. And that's something you decide what to do about it. He was very supportive when it comes to that. But the time passes, that person gets really sick, and he gets in kind of illness that is not, there's no treatment for it. And and I remember, just because, in Sudan, like how we do things, you call people and you ask how are people doing, and they pass the phone for this person and that person, and somehow he was very ill. He was dying, actually. And he got the phone, and I got to talk to him on the phone. He didn't say any word. I just, like, when it was his turn to talk to me, I was just quiet. I didn't say a word. I didn't want to even say hello, you know. I saw his face, and I remember his face, on all the awful things that have happened. And all I said is, I forgive you for what you've done, and it's not because of you. I forgive you because I chose to, because I do not want you to have any power over my life or any power over me for the awful things that you've done. So, um, immediately he said, I am very sorry. I am very sorry. So that's all he said. And for him to say, I'm very sorry, I don't know if it was just a reaction because he said, I forgive you, or because he was very sorry in his heart. But later on, I've learned from my mom that he said, please ask Sama to forgive me, like truly from her heart. And he passed. And you know I it was something really. And my mom said, what happened? And I just didn't want her to go through the pain of learning, you know learning what happened to her daughter and a while back, and feeling guilty and a lot of things like that. We've talked about it afterwards. We've talked about it, and but in a way that doesn't make her, you know as a mom, to kind of feel like she failed, or she wasn't there, wasn't available for me. So that was part of it, and I felt like huge freedom and relief in my heart. Like, I felt huge freedom when I said, I forgive you. And I told Ryan, like, it feels so good, to feel free from that burden of carrying something heavy somehow, carrying it without knowing I was carrying it. Somehow it's just in the back of my mind. Like, I'm not entertaining it, I'm not thinking about it, nothing. It's just something always sitting there somewhere. But because it's one thing, I'm busy, my life is busy, I do this, I do that, and it's just there somewhere. And when you sit alone, things come up sometime to you. Or, I don't know if somebody had similar experience, any kind of hurt. It doesn't have to be that that kind of hurt. But sometimes you'll have a moment when you think of that moment about all the whatever happened to you, and you don't know what to do with yourself, and you don't know what to do with that person. And sometimes we just choose to, okay, we're just gonna go on and forget about this, and I will be fine. But actually, you're not fine. So my message to you today, and I hope that encourage your hearts, please, um, forgive yourself. Don't carry guilt with you. Forgive those who hurt you, but also keep healthy boundaries between you and them. You have power to forgive, you have power to choose what to do in life, and you have power to move on and not to carry heavy weight with you. However, whatever it is, you have that power to live your life healthy. So take charge of your life and move on. And thank you so much for listening to me, to my story, a little bit part of my story, and for encouraging us, for loving us. We love you from here, and I will come back again with something, with a live and another story. So until then, stay healthy in your mind, in your heart, and peace. Bye.